Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Tyria Then, our show about Guild Wars 2, but mostly not Guild Wars 2 yet because we're not there. So we're still on Guild Wars 1. What's up, guys? Welcome. Miko's here, as always.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I've done smoother intros than that one. That
That's
one
all
was...
right.
Yeah, no, that one is not an all-timer.
Okay.
But we're back last bye week. We discussed a little bit of Kryta and a little bit of the Maguma area. It was kind of a transitionary episode.
Mm-hmm.
What did we do in the story last bye week?
So last episode we did Divinity Coast mission, and we got to administer the test of the Chosen with the Divine Eye of Janthier, right? And we went around, found a bunch of Crichtons, and the ones that the Eye of Janthier said didn't knock down, those were the ones that came along, and they think that they're going off to the Temple of the Unseen to learn to be mages under the Grand Masters. So we went and picked them up, and at the end of that mission, after we successfully delivered the Chosen, we got a cutscene, and the escort, the group that was heading out to take the Chosen out to the Temple of the Unseen by way of Maguma Jungle, was waylaid. They were ambushed by the Shining Blade, and the Shining Blade killed the White Mantle that were escorting the Chosen and took the Chosen into the Maguma Jungle. So we then spawned into Druid's Overlook, and we went and found out we had to go and talk to Justiciar Thomas, whose brother Rynan was of the escort party and was killed, and he is now pissed, and so he wants to track the Shining Blade down. So he's like, go and talk to my boys, the scouts over there, and find my people. And when we talk to the scouts, they're like, yeah, we can't find the Shining Blade, but maybe you'll have better luck. So we go and talk to Witness Giselle over in the Wilds Outpost, which is the next mission. And she's like, yeah, no, we've got more important things to worry about. We can't spare Thomas's army, so he and his posse are going to be called back to the front lines to fight the undead, but you can go and look for the Chosen and the Shining Blade.
Wow. Yeah, we did do all that.
We did do all of that, yeah. And then we did some side quests.
Yeah, and then we were
time.
like, okay, I'll do that later. And we went and got high with the Druid spirits, and we became a messenger very briefly. We got involved in blackmail.
Yep.
We really don't know what side we're on right now.
No.
It's great. It's a great place to be in as a MMO protagonist. We're just we'll do anything for anyone that asks us to, because we're getting very close to level 20 and we want XP.
That's right.
Did you manage to level up this episode?
I did, and I'll talk about that because I wouldn't have, except for the fact that I had to rerun one of the missions 3 times.
3 times, yes. And something regarding your rerunning of a specific mission several times.
Yes.
You walked so that I could run, because you told me how to do it, and then I got it on the first try.
You did. I know you were first trier.
I having now done it, I definitely would have had a tougher time with it if you hadn't warned me about taking Warrior Henchman.
Yeah.
Because not taking Warrior Henchman really worked out in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I did manage to level up as well. I am now a level 18 boy.
Me too.
And I'm kind of fiending for when we do those quests a little later on to get some extra attribute points.
Yep.
Because I'm seeing like level 20 approaching, and I'm like, it's still not enough.
I know.
It's still not going to cut it. I'm also how's your skills wise, like your build coming along?
I feel like it's okay. I'm still rocking, what is that? That one ranger skill, power shot, because it's still got good damage. I'm trying to mix in different elementalist skills as the situation warrants, or different ranger skills as the situation warrants. I'm still really glad that I have Condi Cleanse with Antidote Signet.
Right, and I have Antidote Signet now. I got it from a quest, and it's
Nice.
like a great skill. I don't have room for it on my skill bar. Well, I got to take Resurrection Signet, right, and then I got to take my pet skill because he's a person, and then I got to have like my attacks and stuff, and there's just no space.
So I don't take the res sig. I just, like, if Alicia dies, and she dies a lot, I rely on the other henchmen to bring her back.
Right, yeah, I could probably ditch the res sig, because if we're at the point where we're all out of reses and Alicia's dead, we're probably starting over.
We're probably going to wipe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably a bad time. So I may swap in Antidote Signet, because I don't like having conditions on me that are, especially blind.
Yeah, and it's handy for when you get injured, or when they try to, like, the necros will put some sort of disease on you. You're like,
it cures a disease and poison, I think, something like that. It's real nice. I need to add that.
It's very handy.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, my build is the same as it's been. I have hammer attacks and a pet. It's not complicated. And I was looking at I was like planning out a little bit, as you do when you play an MMO, right? I was like, what skills do I want down the road? There's really nothing good for hammer warriors until you get to like very near the end of the game. So yeah, it's going to be the next area we go to, the next kind of big geographical area is probably going to be a struggle for AA run. Because he's just going to be he's going to be a little behind in the skill department.
Well, and you don't want to, you're really leaning into the hammer.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to switch. Yeah, I could go sword or axe and get some like sweet skills, right? But I'm dedicated. Also, like strength. I'm in strength, and there's some tactics elite skills you can get in the next area we're going to. Not really much in the way of strength. I think there's one strength elite skill, and it like does not matter to my build. So that's awesome. I can't wait to put that on my skill bar and have it just be a waste of space. But yeah, we did some side quests after our mission last episode, and now we have to continue chasing the Chosen down in a mission simply titled The Wilds. Yes. Kind of entering the jungle proper, right? Because we're kind of dinkering around in the deserty outskirts of the jungle before, in the sage lands, and now we're going to be kind of diving into the bush, right? Yep. We're going to get our machetes out. We're going to clear the path. What did you think? Overall impressions, The Wilds, good, bad, hard, annoying? What's up?
It was just it wasn't hard. This one felt really straightforward. It just takes a while.
God, this one took me over an hour.
Yeah. I think they both did once I finished both, and they each took me about over an hour each. But it was more straightforward. It was just a lot of go here, go there, go everywhere. Yeah, especially for taking, like, if you wanted to do the bonus. Did you do the bonus?
Yeah. The bonus is a slog. This mission is kind of a maze. Like, you can take some wrong turns, and that'll add time to your path. I had to start this one over really early because I blew the bonus. I just killed the Centaurs. You're supposed to like overhear their conversation, and of course I just blew into them. And then I read the wiki, and I was like, oh. So that was a problem. Did you talk to Witness Giselle about the mission objective?
I did.
She says she mostly just recaps Divinity Coast. She doesn't have that much to say. She did say that the Shining Blade refer to themselves as, quote, revolutionaries. Yes. But she disagrees. She refers to them as godless heathens, I think.
Yeah, or cowards.
Cowards, yeah, godless cowards. And she says that they harass Crichton citizens, essentially, with banditry and pillaging, whereas we've already done some quests to figure out that may not, in fact, be the case. Right. And that this may, in fact, be propaganda from the White Mantle. Yeah,
I found her assessment of the wilds She's like, I don't know why anyone would go in there. The White Mantle don't know what the... Well, I wrote down that the White Mantle don't know what the Shining Blade have discovered to traverse the jungle. She's like, no one has ever wanted to venture in there since the plants have a taste for blood and its shadows are stalked by monstrous beasts.
Yeah, she describes it as like really rough in there, like very inhospitable, and then as the player, of course, it's not like that much worse than like your average explorable area, but the enemy density in this mission, I think, is the big problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't have that much to say beyond like the stuff we've already heard, essentially, about.
And she doesn't like spiders.
So yeah, she's very scared of the interior of the jungle, and she kind of reiterates that they have some way of traversing the jungle that we don't really understand. So we're going to be taking a look at that. We hit our mission start, and it spawns us just in a spot, right in the middle of the jungle, and there's just a ton of moss scarabs right away.
Yeah.
And you go to this crossroads, and there's patrolling moss scarabs that like converge on a single point. And if you linger in the middle there too long, you'll aggro all of them.
Yep.
And I had to run away a few times because I kept over aggroing here because of the patrols.
Yeah, and they do like to come at you as soon as they spot you.
Yes. Yeah, they scuttle right over to you. So yeah, right away you've got like 5 to 7 minutes in the hole. Just like tediously aggroing these spawns of moss scarabs one at a time, right? So right out of the gate, I'm not having fun in the Wilds mission. I really don't like this mission. I have a theory about this mission. I don't know if it's true or not, but this mission seems like filler content that was added at the last minute.
Does it feel like an anime filler episode?
Well, I mean, if we think about it, nothing really happens in this mission. After the Chosen, like spoilers for the mission, we're going to talk about the whole thing, but we chase the Chosen out of Divinity Coast, and then we chase them to the portal to the Wilds, and then we follow them through the Wilds mission, and we don't get them at the end. Like, we're still chasing them at the end of this mission. We don't actually achieve anything in this mission.
But we do meet the leader of the Shining Blade.
We do, yeah. And I think, so it might not be added as, maybe it's not added as filler. Maybe it's just a very clumsy way of getting to the end. Because the end doesn't have a lot to do with the body of the mission. But yeah, I think it's all about the ending, and they didn't really know what to attach to it gameplay-wise. So they just kind of added a giant slog of very dense mobs that you have to hack your way through. Yeah. So I guess it teaches us that the jungle is dense, and you do, like you said, you got to take your machete through it. And I think also the bonus, if you do the bonus, because you can easily skip this bonus and not realize that there's political stuff happening with the Centaurs, that they're basically the conversation that we eavesdrop on with both the scout patrols that we have to kill in order to trigger the bonus, and then the Centaur bosses at the end. We realize that the Centaurs are coming for us. Basically, they know that we're here. They refer to our having come over the Shiver Peaks and having killed their brethren along the way. Yeah, they directly mention the player's actions from earlier in the game, which I thought was really cool, actually. Yeah, and they are trying to form an alliance between the tribes to come and get us. And I found it interesting that they're specifically coming for us who've come out of Ascalon, and not the Crichtons who are hanging out with or living alongside them in Kryta. Or even the White Mantle. I got the impression that they are, so they use the term, they're declaring hunting season on all humans. So we are the catalyst for them basically issuing a kill on sight order for any humans for any reason. The only dissonance here is that this is already the case, right? Like, we haven't met any friendly centaurs, you know? Like, this doesn't change the status quo for us in any way. Centaurs have been directly hostile to us since the first ones we met in the Shiver Peaks.
In the Shiver Peaks, yeah.
So this is, like, not news to us, but apparently apparently this matters in the Maguma Centaur political arena. Yeah, we have to happen up on these centaurs, and you have to eavesdrop on them and let them finish their conversation. Because they mention the names of the bosses at the end that we need to kill for the, and I didn't write them down. It's like Featherhoof and I don't know. Wintermane.
Yeah, no, I wrote them down. Rumtha, Broken Hoof, and Horm Frostrider.
Yeah, that's the one. They're both
elementalists.
Yeah, they're both elementalists. Luckily, they didn't mess me up nearly as bad as that Stone Summit elementalist dude like 4 episodes ago. But yeah, they're skipping ahead a little bit to when we're doing the bonus. There's just a lot of centaurs and they patrol and you really have to slog. I think you might be onto something, and that the point of this mission is not necessarily to like be super engrossing with dialogue and characters. It's to point out that what the White Mantle is saying about the jungle holds merit, right? Yeah. It's not fun going in the jungle, right? And I mentioned earlier that it's not that much different from a normal explorable area, but the wilds is a little bit worse. The next mission we do, Bloodstone Fen, is a little more chill in terms of like enemies difficulty. Yeah. But the wilds is just crawling with stuff. You're in a fight every 2 feet. You have to wait for mobs to patrol off so you can aggro one, and then you got to kill it before the other one comes back. It's some tough stuff. I definitely had a lot of trouble. You just have to go really slow, basically.
Yeah, take your time, especially with henchmen.
Yeah, it adds a lot of time.
And I think the other thing too that the bonus, having to do the bonus, we get an early taste of the vine seed mechanic that comes and gets explained really in Bloodstone Fen, but here we actually can do it ourselves by having to take along the vine seed that the centaur scouts drop in order to go and get the bosses, because we really don't get that explained until Bloodstone Fen.
But they kind of soft introduce you to it here.
Yeah, and we have a cutscene. The first cutscene in the wilds shows that the Shining Blade are using this. So we get that little hint of it. It's like, oh, okay, they're creating something. So if you actually haven't, like, if you don't do the bonus, if you're coming in blind to prophecies and doing this mission and don't do the bonus, you wouldn't really understand, like, what the heck are they doing to create those vine bridges?
Yeah, and this is kind of what the White Mantle keep bringing up. Oh, they have a way to traverse the jungle that we can't figure out. That's kind of what this is pointing towards. So there's some nice... I guess there's actually some pretty nice syncing up and with the story with what we're seeing in the cutscenes, right? They kind of sow these seeds early in the last episode, and then we get the payoff here, learning, oh yeah, the Shining Blade they're in tune with the jungle in a way that the White Mantle are not, right? So they can get around much easier.
And I'm wondering, like, did the Shining Blade learn this from watching the Maguma Centaurs? Is it something that they learned from the centaurs themselves, or is it just something that they learned in the jungle from other? Or did
entities? They commune with the druids and learn it that way, exactly. Right? Clearly the druids aren't unfriendly, right? Like, we communed with them last episode, and we're going to be talking with them again. Clearly, the Shining Blade and the druid spirits like share proximity, so this could be something learned in that capacity as well. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot to this mission besides doing the bonus and then going to the end of the mission. Like, we get one cutscene, like you mentioned, where we see a Shining Blade scout. I don't know if it's Saedra or just a random scout using the Vine Bridge. And then the rest of it is pretty much just killing enemies. But when you get to the Centaur area to do the bonus, it's just crawling with Centaurs. Like, they're everywhere. But there's some cool little... there's like an altar thing with some like blue glowy runes on it. Did you see this?
I did. I took a bunch of screenshots of it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's neat. It's got what looks like... I'll put it up on the screen here. It's got what looks like obviously a dragon, right? I think that's the easiest one to figure out.
Yeah.
What appears to be a pyramid with some curved lines in it. I think this is in reference to the Eye of Janthier. That would be my guess.
Right.
And then what appears to be like a square version of like the Zodiac crosshair.
Yeah. It looks like it looks like a window with like some things hanging off of it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like a square with a crosshair over it, and the crosshair goes slightly outside the lines of the square. And the crosshair has like little lines on the end. So I have like ideas about what this means. Like obviously we have if you play Guild Wars 2 and if you've played Guild Wars 1, spoilers, there's a dragon involved, right?
Right.
And then we've seen the Eye of Janthier, right? Which, since we just saw that one mission ago, we're kind of attuned for a pyramid shape to like evoke that in our mind, right? So I think that's a connection you're supposed to make. And then the square symbol, I don't really know at this point in the story, right? I have theories about the next mission, but at this point in the story, I don't really know what's going on there with that square symbol.
Yeah.
But it's a cool little altar thing, and there's a couple of them. It's not just this one. There's a few of them, and they have these symbols on them. It's neat looking. The glow looks really nice. It's really nicely rendered. And I like that blue as well.
I do like that blue. It looks very friendly as opposed to some of the other dragon symbols that we've seen like out in
the evil looking Ascalon ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
No creepy hum with this one.
No creepy hum either. Yeah. So this one looks much friendlier, much more inviting, and I was like, "Ooh, that's really pretty and cool."
Yeah, so this episode of Guild Wars Ancient Aliens is a little less ominous than than when we were in Ascalon looking at the creepy humming dragon runes. But yeah, that's just hanging out in the Centaur area. It's not really explained. It's kind of just there for flavor. Nobody comments on it. They're just there. There's a lot of stuff like that in the Maguma jungle in particular. Just cool fixtures, cool visual clutter that's laying around that could be something, could be nothing. So we'll talk a little bit more about what we see in the jungle. Did you see anything else that stood out to you in the Wilds mission?
I don't think so that I can recall.
Yeah, the scenery overall is pretty standard, and then there's just that cool little altar. And then we make our way past that, and we have to get to these 2 Centaur bosses to kill. And there's actually 4 Centaur bosses.
Yes, but we only have to kill 2 of them.
Yeah, there's 2 like precursor bosses that are just there. They're just mobs.
Yeah.
And then there's the 2 bosses we have to kill for the bonus. I skated past the first 2 bosses and did the bonus first because I didn't want to double aggro.
Right. Yeah, I think I killed both of the other 2.
Yeah, not super memorable.
Yeah. I mean, their names were okay. Very horse sounding. Yeah, Rappa Iron Haunch.
Iron Haunch?
Yeah, that's nice.
That's funny actually. Iron Haunch.
And then Kara Bloodtail. Those are very good horse sounding names.
Yeah, my man's got glutes of steel, the Iron Haunch. He's been hitting the squat rack. I like that. I don't know if mine were named that or not, because I think there's like a rotation of bosses that can spawn. That's usually how Prophecies works. Bosses are a little more fixed in Cantha and Ilona, but in the great state of Tyria, bosses rotate. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of get that bonus done. It's a huge slog. It took me the majority of the mission time. Yep. And then we kind of zip to the end of the mission after doing the bonus. And when we do come across those Centaur chieftains, they're having a conversation too. And you can stop and listen to them. And they're the ones that give us a little more of the bulk. Like the Centaur bosses say, the humans are becoming a, quote, menace again. Yeah. And that's when they bring up our, like, genocidal rampage over the Shiver Peaks.
Right.
Because we killed a lot of centaurs.
We did.
Yeah, and that's when they used the term hunting season to indicate what they're doing with their inclinations towards humans. And I wonder if this is kind of the beginning, because we don't have a lot of information on how centaurs used to be in Tyria, and I wonder if this is kind of the beginning of their open hostility to humans in Guild Wars 2, because they're like unfriendly towards humans in Guild Wars 1. They've like declared war on humans in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, and the ones in Guild Wars 2 are pretty much located, the hostile ones are pretty much located in Kryta. And
they're like cartoonishly evil, like they're slavers in Guild Wars 2. They take slaves. There's just like, there's zero redeeming qualities to them. So yeah, this could be like the beginning of the decline as far as Centaur. Well, and they're much more prolific in Guild Wars 2 also. Like they have cities and like they're out in the open and stuff. They're not just in like wild areas. They've like developed a industrial society in Guild Wars 2. So this could be the beginning of either whether you see it as a decline or a flourishing of the Centaur species. I think this is a pivotal moment where the Guild Wars 1 protagonist is potentially responsible for the radical industrialization of the Centaur species, which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, good juicy Centaur bits in this mission. Okay. As we talk about the mission, I'm turning around on it. Okay. I didn't like it, and now we're raising some points, and I actually think there's some good info in this mission.
Yeah. Did you run into any, before we move on, since we're talking about bosses, any memorable boss names from this mission?
I have a banger written down.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a jungle troll boss, and he's a warrior.
Yeah.
And his name is Grook Plugalug.
Yes, I ran into him too.
Yeah, my man Grook Plugalug.
His name, I was like, say what?
That's the one. Yeah, no, that was going down. And then I ran into a scarab boss named Gretch Trundle.
Gretch Trundle, yeah.
Which I thought was pretty good. Like, not the best, but, it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
I wish his name was Grench instead of Gretch. I think Grench would be better. Yeah. But Gretch Trundle. Like a solid B- on the name. Grook Plugalug, like an A+.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's an all-timer. And after we get through all these weird boss names and we've killed them and they're lying dead on the floor, and I haven't captured any skills from them because they don't have any good skills, we reach a cutscene.
Yes.
We kind of come into a like round. Is clearing the word? It's like it's like a kind of a half cavern, I guess. Yeah. And the Chosen that we've been chasing are... So, okay, I guess I was wrong, because I said we don't catch the Chosen. We do. We do catch the Chosen.
Yeah.
Next mission, different group of Chosen. Sorry, I'm getting my Chosen mixed up. Yeah. And just as an aside to that, he does mention... I commented on this when we talked about Divinity Coast. The podium guy comments that we go all around Kryta and go to every village and find Chosen. But we don't. We personally don't do this, right? We just go to one village. So it looks like the White Mantle may have several Eyes of Janthier going on. I don't know.
Right.
And they harvest Chosen from all over the place at different times. I don't know what's going on there, but this group of Chosen that we've been chasing out of Divinity Coast, we find in this clearing.
Yes.
And they're spider-webbed up.
Yep. Yes, and one of them says, "Help me, no, please don't," because there's a big, giant spider that comes out and is about to eat them for lunch. Yeah,
I have, in my notes, I have Chosen in spider webs, parentheses, bad voice acting.
Yes.
Because there's more of that, like you said, help, please, no.
Oh, no, please, no.
Yeah, it's atrocious. And it's funny because we're introduced to a character in this, a new named character in this cutscene. Sure, her dialogue shows her name as Venia.
Yes.
Venia has very good voice acting.
Yes, she does. It starts to pick up in the NPC major character
Yeah, like, she started talking, and I was like, holy shit, they hired a voice actor.
You there. You can chase us through the jungle later. But if you have even a shred of decency in your heart, I beseech you, help us save the Chosen.
Yes. I mean, it's a Venia, so, I guess it warranted it.
Yeah, we'll find out more about the Venia character. All we know for now is that she is the leader of the immediate group of Shining Blade that's with the Chosen. Mm-hmm. And yeah, she delivers some very well-spoken lines that kind of inform you, hey, I don't know who you are, I don't know what team you're on, but if you have any shred of decency, you're going to help us rescue these Chosen.
Yeah.
So it would seem that as adept as getting through the jungle as the Shining Blade are, they are not immune to its dangers, right?
Right.
While shepherding the Chosen through the jungle, they got the Chosen captured by spiders. Mm-hmm. Were you able to save the Chosen?
Yes.
Most of them died for me.
I think I was able to save them all.
Yeah, I think a few of them. So I was mousing around and I didn't see any of the spiders actually like make any kills. But what I could see was grayed out like the
corpses.
Yeah, grayed out name Corpse of Chosen.
Oh, I think I lost one. Now that you mention it,
I lost like six. I lost like six of them. Wait, there's only 5. Yeah. I lost like 3 of them. Okay. Yeah, a few of them were dead. So I don't know what I did to so poorly save the Chosen, but yeah, it didn't go great for them with me trying to save them. And then
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I would just when we save them, it cuts back to another cutscene.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the end cutscene. So the end cutscene, Venia's actually first. Our player character, comes in hot, basically, and is like, I don't know who you are, but you've got 10 seconds to tell me what you're up to before I run you through. And I was like, badass, what are you doing?
It's like too aggressive for the situation. Yeah. Like we've just helped them rescue the Chosen, right? And we're getting them back, and we're threatening to murder them on the spot. It's very bloodthirsty. Mm-hmm. So that was, I thought that was comical as well.
Yeah. How was your male protagonist voice acting on that one? Because the female one, it was pretty good.
Yeah, you seem to have been enjoying your protagonist VO so far throughout the game. Mm-hmm. The male is bad. I don't think it's good. He kind of sounds like this. This is how he talks. You've got 10 seconds. Like that's kind of, he's got like a 90s anime dub thing going on.
You have exactly 10 seconds to explain yourselves before we run you through.
You have exactly 10 seconds to explain yourselves before we run you through.
Right.
So yeah, I don't like it when my character opens his mouth, more or less. Right. I think it gets better as the games go forward. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they ever change the male player character voice or not. But if they don't, I think he at least improves. But Venia, yeah, exactly. She basically says that like, hey, you don't need to kill me. You need to go see what the White Mantle quote really do to the Chosen. And she kind of just leaves a scratch in our heads, right?
Yeah, and then one of her cronies, Markis, who gets named, interrupts her, and he's like, "What do you mean? You're gonna trust them?" And she's like, yeah, they don't seem like the typical White Mantle. So we're going to let them go. And then they can go on to Bloodstone and find out for themselves what they're up to.
Yeah, exactly. And in a single player RPG, right? This could have been a moment where Venia goes, hey man, they helped Alari Doubleblade out with that mysterious message. All right, I think they're on our side. Or hey man, they took out Galrath, right? I think they might be on our side. This, unfortunately, is an MMO and does not have the space to customize the narrative in that way for the player, because this is a multiplayer mission, right? Like you can take players with you on this.
Yeah.
So she just kind of intimates that we don't look like we're so far down the rabbit hole that we can't be swayed by common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, for starters, we're not wearing white armor, right?
Correct.
So that's your first giveaway that we might be up for grabs in terms of our allegiance.
Right.
That's how I would describe Aaron's allegiances, just like up for grabs.
Yeah.
Offer him some XP and he's right with you.
Yeah, and I will say that you are sporting some really cool armor right now.
Yeah, no, I like I'm liking the gladiator armor. Here's the thing though. Great choice for Kryta. I think not such a great choice for the Maguma jungle. He's probably getting scraped up by thorns, right?
Yes.
It's probably mosquitoes up the wazoo.
Yep.
Right, just biting the hell out of him with all his skin out. But at the end of this episode, we get to an outpost that has an armor trader, and the armor isn't any better than what I already fucking have.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I was like, damn it.
Yeah, brutal. Last episode, I don't know if we brought it up, but there is a few collectors that have some improved armor in the Sagelands and at Druid's Overlook. I don't have any of the stuff for them yet.
Me neither.
I've been saving all my collectible drops, and I got 5 Ancient Eyes. And I was like, I'm going to go get that helmet. And then the helmet that I got was an Axe Mastery helmet, and not a Hammer Mastery helmet.
So, wrong stats.
The Hammer Mastery helmet requires unnatural seeds, of which I have 1.
I have 0, so I mean, you're better than me.
And then I looked at the Druid's Overlook trader, who gives you some gloves that are better, and that takes ebon spider legs.
I have 3.
I have 4.
Oh, better.
Yeah, I need 1 more, and I farmed spiders for about 10 minutes and did not get a single leg and decided to try another day.
Right.
So I still do not have any of the upgraded collector armor from this area, but I hope to acquire some.
Yep.
Because it's still going to be, like, story-wise, it's going to be a while before we can get maxed out armor from a vendor. So I think this improved armor, though, that we see at the collectors, I think we can get armor of that rating quality from a vendor in the next geographical region that we'll be heading to. Probably, like, 2 episodes down the line, maybe?
Okay.
So I'm like, this is off the top of my head, guys. I don't really know. Okay. I don't really know what, like 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah, 2 or 3 episodes from now, we're going to be seeing quite a change in the environment. But for now, Venia tells us that we should go to somewhere called Bloodstone Fen. What is a fen?
Isn't Fen a murky area? Murky body of water?
Okay, I didn't know that. I was reading about Bloodstone Fen on the wiki, and the wiki refers to it as the Bloodstone Fen, and I was like, I've never thought about it before, but a fen must be like a way to describe an area of land.
Yes, it's peaty. Is marshy, peaty, peaty, PT.
Right.
Slightly acidic soil. Yeah.
Okay.
Wetlands type things.
Gotcha. Okay, I like this. That contextualizes the name Bloodstone Fen very well. So, we're headed over to Bloodstone Fen. We do not know why it is called Bloodstone Fen.
Nope.
Up to this point, it's just a cool name. So Venia has us head that way, and we're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna for now. Right? We stave off our tantrum. We stave off running Venia through. We gave her a lot more than 10 seconds, I think.
I think we did.
Yeah. And then we've completed the mission. We get the mission bonus reward, giving us that big 2,000 XP. And we spawn over in Bloodstone Fen Outpost, which is where you enter the mission. So back-to-back missions here.
Yep.
And did you have a chit-chat with Blade Scout Braden?
I did. Yes.
He has some good stuff to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that he tells us that only by keeping an open mind can we overcome adversity. And I was immediately reminded of the Tablets of Janthier, that this sounds a little bit better.
Yes. Yeah, he's got some platitudes of his own, but they make a little more sense, right?
They do.
And he opens up with, like, when we open the dialogue with him, he's like, hey, I know you don't trust me. I don't trust you either.
Right.
So we're not, like, fully allied with we haven't just turned on a dime and fully allied with the
We're
Shining
not friends
Blade.
yet.
Yeah, we are
feeling each other
tentatively,
out.
we're dipping our toes in the pond. Yeah. We're feeling it out a little bit. So we're following the breadcrumb trail that they're leaving for us because they know that we need to see it before we'll believe it.
Yeah.
Even though we've done the Galrath thing, right? We've done the murder mystery thing. We murdered poor Abbot Ramoth and his book. We've done all that, but we're still not convinced, right? So
No.
we gotta head into this mission. But before that, Scout Braden has a little bit more to say.
Yes.
He talks about the Flameseeker prophecies.
He does, which we've heard about back in Old Ascalon.
Yeah. It was mentioned. Yeah, it was mentioned in a few different spots, like in passing in Ascalon. One of them was in the Nolani Academy mission, I think, during the bonus.
Mirek the Shouter out in...
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the... I forget the name of that outpost now, but yeah.
The Frontier Gate.
That's the one.
I remember the name of that outpost now because we did this show. Before that, I could not have told you what outpost that is.
I know, I could picture it in my mind, but I didn't recall the name right off the top.
Yeah, in that outpost, Mirek the Shouter, he basically goes over the Flameseeker prophecies in detail. And I don't remember any of the verbatim lines he has. But basically what Braden says about the Flameseeker prophecies is that the White Mantle believe in them.
Yeah.
He says that the Flameseeker prophecies foretell of beings with true sight rising up against the unseen ones.
Yeah. So they think that the Chosen are going to rise up and kill the unseen gods.
And then he straight up tells us that the White Mantle kill the Chosen. Yep. So we can say to him, are you saying that the White Mantle kill the Chosen? And he's like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So kind of pulls out all the mysteries and lays it out on the table for us. Yeah. And that harkens back to one of those tablets of Janthier in the Divinity Coast mission that literally says on it, the way of the chosen can be found in death. Yeah. So we've got some, the White Mantle aren't even hiding it that much, right? No. And but that tells us that this story that they're selling people about training with the Grand Masters to become a wizard or whatever is horseshit.
Yeah. And I liked that he says, don't you wonder why they're taking them into the Maguma jungle, northwest into the Maguma jungle, when the Temple of the Unseen is on the southwest shore of Kryder along well-traveled roads?
Yeah, he's
it's completely the opposite direction. And he's like, so why aren't you questioning that?
Right, yeah. And the reason nobody questions it is because everybody's grows up going to White Mantle school reading the tablets of Janthier, right? They got their memory verse every week. that's about never questioning your masters and keeping doors locked and looking out over the mountain and being scared. Yeah. So that Crichtons are learning this from a young age, and they're like, oh well, I mean, they're taking them into the jungle. I guess they got to go the long way. Right. Some about being chosen.
Yeah. Gotta go out into the wilderness, maybe for as part of their training.
Right, yeah. I'm sure the White Mantle don't even have to lie about it, right? They just let you lie to yourself. Right. That's when you know you've got a successful cult going. When people start making up the lies themselves and you don't even have to do the work anymore. Mm-hmm. Because you've brainwashed them so thoroughly that they'll continue brainwashing themselves. Yeah. I love the White Mantle, and by that I mean I don't care for them. So from there, now that we've kind of got the lowdown and we kind of know what the mission is, the mission he gives us is, hey, so we've saved that one group of chosen, but they've got another group of chosen. Right. And they're further ahead. They're headed to what he calls the Bloodstone. Mm-hmm. Do you know what a Bloodstone is, Miko?
Why don't you tell me, Aaron?
Well, so the mission doesn't really explain what a Bloodstone is.
No, it doesn't.
But we're not going to actually learn what it is until way later. So I think it's interesting to kind of just go over it. You can look up what a Bloodstone is on the wiki, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to, the name sort of implies it. But Braden tells us, they murder the chosen on the Bloodstone and trap their souls inside the magical statues because of the Flameseeker prophecies. So there's something going on. It's something related to blood. And,
Yeah, and we've had a few mentions so far in the story, not in the story, but like during side quests, of a guy named King Doric.
Yes.
In the history of Tyria, this was a dude who like united the humans into one kingdom, and he was the king. And then after he died, they like fractured into Ascalon and Kryta and Or, and thus you have the Guild Wars, right? Like very vague overview. And these bloodstones are shards of a bigger stone that like the gods and King Doric made together, and that it has to do with like the energy in these stones is like what gifts magic to humans to be able to wield in the form of like casting flare and shit, right?
Yeah.
And so like if you unite these bloodstone shards, you could reform the bloodstone. We don't really know anything about what that means right now, but
No.
that's kind of what we're like general, like very brief lore overview of where we're the type of stone that we're headed to. It's like super magical, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really all you need to know.
Yeah, and it's sealed with Doric's blood. So.
Yeah, it's sealed with the blood of this dude, King Doric, who is like the best dude ever, apparently. He was like he was such hot shit that his blood, the gods were literally like, can we like use your blood, brother? So yeah, there's one of these bloodstone shards in the Maguma jungle, and they are killing the chosen upon it, apparently. We need to head in and rescue them. So new group of chosen, gotta rescue them. And we start the mission, and we're talking to Saedra again.
Yep. Yes. And Saedra has a vine seed, and she's like, here, take this. Go stand on that little glowy circle, and then you'll be able to make a bridge and move along.
Yes, so Saedra shows us like straight up how to use the vine bridges, and we're like, dope. And you got to do this a bunch throughout this mission.
Yes.
And it's funny, if you look at the mission map on the wiki, it makes this mission look really long. It's probably not as long as the wilds, just because there's not as many enemies to fight. But you do have to kind of screw around with the bonus quite a bit.
You do. And I think the bonus is actually, I know for me, the bonus took me longer than the actual mission.
Yeah, so Miko did this before I did, and she was giving me the blow-by-blow of doing the bonus, so I kind of...
so annoyed.
Yeah, I got to learn how to do this from her trial and errors, so explain the bonus of this mission to us.
So the bonus of this mission, you have to go and awaken an Elder Druid. So in order to get the Elder Druid to wake up, you have to go and wake up 4 of his lesser... not elder druids, some 4 regular druids, and you're like, cool, I can do this.
It's also, it's not super clear why we have to do this.
No, it's just what it is.
It's funny with the bonuses in this game, some of them relate directly to the mission, and some of them are just like, we couldn't really think of anything, so go do this.
Yeah.
This is the latter.
I'm kind of hoping that the payoff on the explanation comes later on, because after having to restart this mission 3 times because of the henchmen.
Because we are playing the game with henchmen.
We are playing the game with henchmen. I would like to know why we had to go and wake up the druids and wake up that elder druid.
Because they don't do they don't have any effect on the mission. Like, they don't do anything for you.
No. We don't even have like a buff that comes from them for completing it. You just get your XP, which is great. And it helped me out having to repeat this mission in order to finally tick over into level 18. The druids don't actually explain themselves. They just call you friend of the jungle, forest friend, and thank you. The Maguma is in trouble.
Which, I mean, Miko the Ranger is probably happy to be a friend of the jungle, right?
Yeah.
Aaron does not receive any, like, valuable metal armor or metal weapons from this, and he kind of feels like it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
But you gotta awaken these druids by getting the vine seeds and putting them in the right spot, right?
Right.
And why is that hard?
Because you have to get past some jungle guardians
What are jungle guardians?
They are like our tree friends, again, who will pelt you with rocks. And really what you need to do, you need to make sure that your henchmen do not, and your pets if you've got them, do not aggro and attack and or kill the jungle guardians. If you kill a jungle guardian, you will spawn ravagers. And the ravagers, once you spawn them, makes you fail the mission.
I didn't
kill the jungle guardian.
Yeah, I didn't spawn any of them. What do they? What do the ravagers look like?
So ravagers kind of look like black wispy things.
Do they look like the fog nightmares from Keswick's Peak?
Kind of, but bigger.
Now I want to look them up.
Yeah. They're kind of badass looking. But basically, the jungle guardians are there to protect the druid wake-up points. So they are protectors of the druids. So, of course, they're going to be angry. They don't want to let people in. But, yeah, what got me... So my strat was to flag the henchmen past the jungle guardians so that they would run past. On my first try, my 2 warrior henchmen got hung up, and they went straight from the jungle guardians. Did not pass go, did not keep going. I ran past, and I was like, no, dudes, over here. And of course, because they stopped to fight, the other entire party stopped. Why? Because Alicia stopped to heal them.
Of course.
And then they all died, and they caused a wipe. And I was like, no, really, I need you to come over here where the moss scarabs are spawning. Get your asses over here. We need to fight these guys. Stop killing things. And so that caused a wipe. So trial 2, I made it past that first group. Yay. Got to the second group, and Stefan got stuck on one of the jungle guardians. Alicia stayed to heal him. And
naturally, Stefan has to hack his way out of the situation.
Yeah, and he killed the guardian. Alicia died, but he killed the guardian. And I was like, I could really just murderfy the 2 of you right now.
Yeah, no, they can, leave them there.
Yeah. And then on my third pass, Dunham got stuck and got killed by the guardians, and I was like, fuck you, I don't care, the rest of us are going on, we'll come back and get you later. So did you ever come back and get Dunham? Yeah, because I had to go back and up that same path to continue the rest of the mission.
Once you summon the Elder Druid, can you then kill guardians without any penalty since the bonus is done?
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't, even though I probably wanted to. And I didn't want to take the shortcut. I actually wanted to talk to Blade Scout Rider, because I wanted that cutscene.
Oh, it's good that you did that, because I took the shortcut.
Yeah.
What I did for this is, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, I avoided taking warrior henchmen so that they wouldn't run over to the jungle guardians. Mm-hmm. And you basically just have to constantly flag your heroes, your henchmen to a new location so they never stop running. If they stop running, they will start fighting.
That's it.
So yeah, it's just constant flagging. It's a lot of micromanagement. It's just really annoying.
It really is.
Yeah, so I was able to do this that way, and then I circled around the back and took the shortcut, which wasn't really a shortcut because you have to do a lot of running around and making more vine bridges. So I don't know if that was really the move that I thought that it was.
Right.
But yeah, summoning the druids is kind of cool, right? Like, it's interesting from a lore perspective, the existence of these druid beings. We summoned them last episode to kind of like lick frogs and get jungle high and talk about inner wisdom and stuff. I think we went over it a little bit last episode, but I don't remember where you find this information in the game. I don't know if we'll come across it organically or not, but the druids in Guild Wars are essentially... They used to be Crichtons. They ran into the jungle to like live the druid lifestyle, right? May or may not have been Melanger worshippers. It's not really known. I'm leaning towards no, actually, since Dwayna was actually the one that sent us to meet with the druids. Not a huge Melanger connection so far, right? And they literally shed their mortal forms to become one with the jungle, which is where we get their spirit forms that they manifest as. So they are the jungle, apparently.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. So that's what we're summoning here. But yeah, no real reason to be doing it and no real payoff. So just a kind of an aside that you have to do that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I liked that the regular druids acknowledged us as friends of the forest and friends of the jungle, so they recognize that there's something in us that they can trust us. But then once we finally they finally summon the elder druid, dude has nothing to say.
No, he has absolutely nothing to say. Doesn't say anything. He doesn't go anywhere.
No, I was like, but bro, okay.
Yeah, no, he is above us. we are but dirt beneath his ethereal heel.
Yes.
So you didn't go? Did you go anywhere in the shortcut at all, or did you just go right back to the main mission trail?
So I went back to the main mission, and then I ended up going to what is on the mission map on the wiki point C, because the vine flower seeds are there, so that I could go and find Ryder. Yeah,
you need the seeds. So I did not talk to Ryder. I did the whole mission without speaking with him. Nice. Does he have useful information?
So he's like, yeah, so I was out going to go and pick up these chosen, but the White Mantle wiped my party, and I'm not going to go back and get more, and I'm not going forward. You can go on to the Bloodstone by yourself. And I'm like, thanks, bro.
Right, yeah, you're like, okay, I went out of my way to talk to you, but...
Then he tells you that the stone disrupts divine energies. Those killed on top of it take much longer to resurrect.
Oh, yes, and this manifests itself... I forgot that this was the case. I didn't even pay attention to the debuff in the game, but yeah, you get like it's aura of the Bloodstone, I think. Mm-hmm. Debuff, and it basically makes resurrection skills take forever to channel.
Yeah.
So that happens when you're on the Bloodstone. Did you run into any White Mantle bosses on your way to the Bloodstone?
Yes.
What was the name of yours?
Oswald the Amiable.
Okay, that's really good.
And he's a necro, which I thought was hilarious.
Oswald the Amiable. That sounds like a parody character.
Yeah.
I ran into Pleo the Ugly. And
that's great.
Yeah, Pleo the Ugly, I think, is an elementalist boss. Lots of elementalist bosses to deal with in these two missions. Yeah. White Mantle, not that difficult to deal with. They're like level 15, 16, but they're not too bad.
Oh, this Oswald was a level 20.
Oh, was he? Oh, yeah, the bosses. Yeah, the bosses are level 20. The regulars, the troops are like 15, 16, somewhere in that area. But they're not too bad. The bosses weren't too bad.
No.
Did
you run into any other memorable bosses in this one?
Not in this one, no. My best boss is still Grook Plugalug from the previous mission.
I ran into a devourer who's called Mossic Rottail.
Mossic. That sounds like something. Yeah, that sounds like something I would name like a pet.
Yeah, and then I ran into a Wind Rider who's called Hep Bile Spitter.
Okay, that's pretty good. Hep Bile Spitter. Good. I like. Yeah. I love the like they seem to have a format for boss names at ArenaNet. But then, as long as you stay within that format, you can be as goofy as you want. Like, there's no rules, you know? So I like that they really commit to their format that way. That's pretty neat. So that's one of the areas of the game, I think, that, like, just keeps it kind of fresh feeling for the player. Yeah. It's another thing you can look forward to while you're exploring, right? Maybe I'll find some funny bosses. So I like that aspect of the game a lot. I did see a couple cool like sights in this mission. In the Druid area, when you're doing the bonus, there's like these tall dwellings in the trees with like hanging glowing pods off of them. They look a lot like the pods that Sylvari are born from in Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
I'm just shrugging. I'm just asking questions. Okay, I don't have any answers.
Right.
I'm just asking questions. Because we know the Sylvari are their own thing, right? And they're related to whatever the hell is going on in Guild Wars 2 that we'll chit-chat about then. But we also know that the being that the Sylvari are spawned from is alive at this time.
Yeah.
And just dormant, right? So I'm over here like,
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see how they make these links and if you're actually paying attention, if you go between the two games, you see that payoff.
Yeah, because those pods, they just look a lot like Sylvari pods. So cool stuff there. And then I think it's when you get to the point where the shortcut path and the main path intersect, you find this like cool little like magical jungle fountain thing, and it just kind of looks cool.
It does.
So I took a picture of it. It's on the screen right now, and that's I think where that Windrider boss is, because he's in my screenshots. So we can take a look at Hep Bile Spitter in my screenshot. And then from that point, I think is when you make a vine bridge to go over and you start finally fighting hostile White Mantle.
Yes.
And at this point, I think it's safe to say we have turned on the White Mantle because we're fighting them within main story content.
Yes.
We're not just like doing weird side quests that kind of throw a wrench in what side we're technically on. We're, in terms of the main storyline, we are now fighting and killing White Mantle.
Yeah.
And from there we make our way to the Bloodstone. And
And who do we meet?
Well, we've met him before. We met him in the Gates of Kryda, and we met him in Divinity Coast. And I still think he has like really weird cartoon Disney eyes. It's my man Justiciar Hablion.
Yes.
And he is standing amidst a circle of bound and gagged chosen on their knees.
Yeah.
And he is like delivering a chilling speech before. What does he do to the chosen?
So after he says the pivotal line, "I am the Scythe, the bringer of salvation," he goes into his long little ramble about why the chosen will be killed, and then he whacks them. Basically, slits their throats.
There's really good writing here. I wrote down his whole speech because it's so good. He says, "I am the Scythe, the bringer of salvation. I shall harvest the souls of the unbelievers, for their stench will linger until the false gods have been cast from this world." I like that. There's really good like villain poetry.
Oh, absolutely. And if you've run in Guild Wars 2, Wing 2, Salvation Pass, the final boss, Matthias Gabriel, is constantly saying that, "I am the Scythe, the bringer of salvation." So as soon as he said that, I was like, hang on, I've heard this before many times over.
Right, yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Miko did a lot of raiding in Guild Wars 2, and she's talking about one of the raid bosses. I, who have not done a lot of raiding in Guild Wars 2, did not recognize this from that fight. So that's a really nice payoff, guys.
Yeah.
If you're not raiding in Guild Wars 2, start raiding so that you can recognize weird Guild Wars 1 tie-ins.
Yeah.
That's the real reward. Okay.
That is.
And there's a lot of White Mantle payoff in Guild Wars 2 that we're gonna get into way down the line, including stuff for Hablion. So, and he uses a skill in particular here called Cyclone Axe. It's a skill you can get as a player. I think Little Tom has it. And you like jump in a circle with your axe held out, and you hit everything. And he does it to essentially. It's like you said, I don't think they had the animation budget to animate heads dropping off, but he essentially like slits everyone's throat with a big whirling axe move. And they die.
Yes, they do.
And the stone glows.
Yep.
And it looks really neat.
It really does.
Like the color contrast is very stark, like purple and gold against the gray stone. It looks very nice.
Yeah.
And then our player character like steps up and goes. We like directly threaten Hablion. We're like, "Today's the day, Hablion." And he's like, "Come and get me, loser!" Right?
Much.
And then something interesting happens. Everyone's now hostile. We need to fight. 2 patrols run down the Bloodstone like they're going to come at me, but they stop just short of where I am because I haven't moved yet, right? Yeah. And then they just start wandering back up. So the game kind of fakes you out a little bit. But you can fight these patrols completely separately as long as you let them run down to you.
Yeah.
And if you do that, this section really is not that hard.
No.
Because you're not fighting a lot of enemies at once at any given moment. I think you fight these 2 patrols and they're 2 people each. And then Hablion has like 3 guards with him, maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. And it makes taking out Hablion that much easier because the other two patrols don't come back.
Yeah. And Hablion's just like a level 20 warrior. I think he actually did some damage to Alicia. I think he was kind of battering her down a bit because I wanted to kill the other guys first and then kill Hablion last. But really not too hard. He's about this, like, he's kind of the same as Galrath, honestly. He's about the same type of deal as Galrath.
Yeah.
And we have a banger of a one-liner when we kill him. My character said, "May your soul be lost in the endless mists."
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty savage. I don't think we've brought up the mists yet on this show. I don't think it's been introduced as a concept in the game. The mists are kind of not like the afterlife is part of it, but they're kind of just like the I don't even know how to describe it.
It's kind of like I hate to use the word purgatory, but it's kind of like this, like in between purgatory or underworld type area, but not the underworld of the game.
It's like the fabric. It's like the fabric between realities. It's kind of to use an example, in Forgotten Realms fantasy, you have a concept called the planes. The mists are kind of like the planes in Guild Wars. It's kind of just this space that's in between different realities that you can go to. And everything is a part of the mists. Like Tyria is located in the mists. The underworld is located in the mists, like Miko mentioned, right? It's all like the mists are how people explain the space, like space and time, essentially.
Yeah, but especially for the dead.
Yeah, especially for the dead, because when you pass on, you enter the mists and you go find the realm that you're supposed to be in. So yeah, that's and we've basically wished that Hablion be eternally lost within the endless mist. So we just wish that his spirit never finds peace, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
So pretty cool line. Pretty cool introduction of the concept of the mists. The mists come up a lot throughout the games, especially a lot more in Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that describes what the mists are is a mission in Guild Wars 2 Living World Season 4, where you're like riding your mount through the mists as a dragon is chasing you. Because you're just kind of in this transitionary pocket of space. And that's kind of what I always think of as what the mists are. But it's a very hard concept to explain, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, think of it as the afterlife, essentially. Once we kill him and we say that, the cutscene transitions to something that we're seeing as kind of the bird's eye game player, not so much the player character.
Right. And we see Confessor Dorian. And he's not happy. He's still very frowny.
Oh my! Everything
his
about
is deepened, I think.
Everything about Confessor Dorian is bizarre. His frown is bizarre. His posture is bizarre. The shape of his body is like humans aren't shaped like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's just everything about him is odd. And yeah, he's got like an army of soldiers in front of him. They're at like a White Mantle temple. It's not. I don't think it's specified which temple, but this could be the Temple of the Unseen, right? But he's like whipping him up into a frenzy. And somehow he already knows about what we've done to Hablion.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was just about to say that because it's like, well, how did you did you get a royal pigeon? No, that's too fast. How did you know that Hablion has been killed?
Yeah, he says, "I've just received word," is what he says.
Yeah, that there's a traitor in our midst.
Yeah, and I'm like, that was fast.
Yeah.
Maybe the story lets us know how he got word so fast later. I don't know. I genuinely don't remember if it like goes into it or not, or if it's just like a minor plot hole. But yeah, he knows basically, and he's going scorched earth on us.
Pretty much, he's like, the White Mantle have once again been called to arms. And I also have a note that the responses from the army that he's whipping up into a frenzy is really bad voice acting again.
It is, yeah.
We will kill them.
They must pay for this. Kill them all.
Yeah, and you see some new White Mantle models that I don't think we've seen yet. You see some guys that are like in this like scary red executioner masks. Yeah, they look kind of gnarly. Like they look scary a little bit.
They do, yeah. Those guys mean business. What do they do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he says they're to leave no stone unturned in the pursuit of killing us. Basically, we have now branded ourselves public enemy number 1 with the White Mantle. Yes. So I think we've officially switched sides.
Yeah.
Seeing as we've murdered a senior ranking member of the White Mantle leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the mission.
Yep.
So we've now got the full reveal of what they don't just kill the Chosen, they kill them in a sort of like evil ritual.
Yeah.
The podium guy before the mission said they kill them on the Bloodstones to do something with their souls. Mm-hmm. So there's something evil there's something evil afoot, or at least something strange.
Right.
What we perceive it as evil, right?
Yeah.
But we really don't know what's going on.
Not
so
yet.
We're gonna have to keep playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we spawn into an outpost that we ran into last episode. When we were doing the follow-up to Mysterious Message.
Right. I didn't actually unlock the outpost, even though it was like right there.
I did, yeah. I unlocked it because I was like, oh, I'll do the quest, and then I saw that it like took me to a primary quest for the like 2 missions down the line, so I decided to stop. It turns out I could have just done the quest and it would have been fine, but I didn't want to ruin it, so. Yeah. I saved it, so I did that quest now, and I think you did too, right? The Price of Steel.
The Price of Steel, yes.
Yeah, Alari Doubleblade gives you... That's still such a corny name. Alari Doubleblade gives you this quest in Mamnoon Lagoon, and you basically run over... She tells you that you need to tell Gareth Quickblade, these guys, and they're like on-the-nose names.
Yeah.
That there are White Mantle in the woods. And Gareth basically sends us to meet some scouts to kill them.
Yeah.
And we go and kill them.
Yeah, and he's like, bring me back their armor. Maybe we can use them.
Yeah, I didn't even read the dialogue that thoroughly to realize we had to bring the armor back. But the quest is called The Price of Steel, so that makes sense. Yes. And they all started dropping this uniquely named armor, and I was like, that must be something to do with the quest.
Yes, called Ruined Armor.
Yes, yeah. And we bring him this armor back, and he's like, maybe we can use it. And the armor trader doesn't even make better armor.
No, I know.
It could have been some great, like, narrative consistency and like, oh, I'm at an outpost where they could craft me better armor because I do this quest, right?
Yeah. And the hilarious thing is, like, when you run out to complete this killing quest, Alari Doubleblade is, like, right there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you could have gone in to yourself and done this for him. Like, you could have run your message yourself. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, she's... and it harkens back to when we're doing the Mysterious Message last episode, and we have to put the message for Alari in the log, and then we have to go tell Alari that we put the message in the log.
Yeah.
It just... Yeah, Alari Doubleblade, I think, might be an asshole.
Yeah.
And possibly a troll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Shining Blade intelligentsia or their intelligence operatives are not that smart.
No one is on the same page here. No one communicates because they're having us do all the communication.
That's right.
Even though they're perfectly capable of it. I don't think... I think the White Mantle have... Well, clearly they have communication issues because the White Mantle don't, right? The White Mantle know Hablion's dead immediately.
Immediately, yeah.
Whereas if this happened to, like, a Venia, the Shining Blade would have to send me to put a message in a log for somebody to then collect later. Yeah, no. Right. Like
disaster. 3 weeks later, they would have found out and been like, oh no.
Shining Blade, very good at plucking and placing vine seeds. Very bad at basic messenger services.
Right.
Because, like, what would they do without us? Right? I did notice...
Still waiting for people to run by and say, hey, you, come over here.
No, rude. Incredibly rude. I did notice during this quest that jungle trolls have warrior skills and ranger skills, making them warrior rangers.
I noticed that too.
Which is, we've probably run into multi-profession enemies before, and I just didn't notice. But I think it's cool that enemies can be multi-profession in addition to player characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good choice. It's good stuff. I turned that quest into Gareth, and he was basically like, thanks for the iron. See if we can use it. And then I got 500 experience, which I think is the real win.
Right.
Because we're now 2 levels off the maximum level for this game, and I'm ready.
I know, seriously. And it's going to take us a little bit before we get...
It is, yeah. Did you see how much experience it is to get from 18 to 19?
Uh-huh.
It's 12,000.
It's a lot, yeah. We're going to have make sure we do those bonuses, which are not going to be fun.
Yeah, and I think it's 15,000 to get from 19 to 20.
I remember it being a slog to get to 20. So
yeah, so I don't know if
here we go.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll make it to 20 before we leave this area, this geographical area. But we'll definitely be level 20, at least when we're a couple missions into the next geographical area we head to.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Did you do anything else this episode as far as that? Did you talk to him about the primary quest at all?
I picked up the primary quest, and I was like, I'm going to leave you at that, because I've been playing for 5 hours now, because I ran the missions on the same day.
Right.
And because I had to restart Bloodstone Fen several times, I was done.
Yeah, I as soon as I did, when I was like 20 minutes into the wilds, I was like, I'm not doing Bloodstone Fen after this. I did the wilds, and I turned my computer off and did Bloodstone Fen another day.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I am not back to back in these, because I really did not have a fun time in the wilds. The wilds was more fun to talk about than to actually play. Yeah. When you have somebody to bounce your ideas off of, then it becomes interesting. When you're just there by yourself, suffering the hordes of centaurs, it's pretty lackluster.
Yeah. I did want to say, I wanted to give a shout out to one of our viewers, Ankh the Night Owl, in game, because Ankh found me, I think in Bloodstone Fen, and whispered me while I was taking notes, and I didn't actually see the message until I think it was like my 3rd run through on Bloodstone Fen, trying to get that freaking bonus done. So I had been busy taking notes and bitching to Aaron for the bonus, and so I didn't see the message. But thanks for saying hi, and for letting me know that you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, guys, so if you're ever trying to reach us in game, the best way to reach either Miko or myself is going to be to write down a message on a piece of paper and leave it in a log in Namnoon Lagoon. And then send us a whisper to let us know that you left a message in our log.
Yeah, that Alari Double Blade sent you.
And then we'll be able to communicate with you successfully. So just remember that for future interactions. No, you can always message any of us if we're on. You've probably seen in the footage, but my character's name is spelled AYE space Ron, because regular AA Ron was taken. So that's the challenge in messaging me, is the hoops that I had to jump through to name myself appropriately.
Right.
That's where we're leaving it for this episode. So I think the next mission that we have to play is Aurora Glade, if I'm not mistaken. This is just off the top of my head. I haven't done the research at all.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I believe
a couple of primary quests get us there.
Okay, cool. So we'll probably do those 2 primary quests and do the mission, and we'll see like where our episode notes are at. If we need to get any more content, we'll get more content. Mm-hmm. But definitely Aurora Glade next episode. Yep. And then I think after that, there's Riverside Province and Sanctum K.
Yep.
And then we'll be transitioning areas pretty significantly. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be looking at for like the next couple episodes. As far as where people can find us online, Miko, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere at Inky Sticks, all one word.
Perfect. And as we discovered last episode, really everywhere, anywhere Miko's going to be is going to be that username.
Yep.
Just do some searching. I don't really do social media, but I'm on the Tyria Now Twitter. So you guys can Tyria Now, and I'll be able to find you. Yeah, you can even send us messages in game if you see us online.
That's right.
And then we really like those YouTube comments too. Those are great. Yes. So thank you to all our commenters, because that's fun for us to be able to chit chat about the episodes and about the game with you guys. We do have a guy who does our music for this show, Arctic's Booze Bus on YouTube. You can go follow his channel if you like the intro music, because he makes a lot of music. And go ahead and give us the old subscribe on YouTube. We've got Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you need the audio-only version for any reason. So you can go follow us on those just so you can access that whenever you need it. And I think that's going to be it for us until next time. All right, guys. We will talk to you upon the next bye week.
That's right. Yes, in 2 weeks' time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.